Have you ever walked into a room and felt like something shifted? Like people got a little quieter, a little more careful with their words, maybe even a little distant, and you couldn't quite put your finger on why. Yeah, that feeling hits harder than we like to admit, especially when you've spent a lifetime being the one everyone leaned on, respected, even admired, and now suddenly, without anyone saying it out loud, the energy just feels different. And here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say directly. Not your kids, not your friends, not even your coworkers if you're still in the game sometimes. It's not about your age. It's about the small habits that crept in over the years. The kind that quietly push people away while you're thinking everything's fine. And look, this isn't about blame. It's about awareness, because once you see it, you can fix it, and once you fix it, everything changes. So let me ask you something straight up. When was the last time someone corrected you? Gently, honestly, without holding back? Exactly, it doesn't happen often, because people avoid discomfort. They smile, they nod, they move on, but inside, they're thinking things they'll never say. Like when conversations turn into lectures. Yeah, you know what I mean. When you start sharing wisdom, but it slowly becomes a one-way street. And suddenly, the other person isn't talking anymore. They're just waiting for a pause that never comes. And you think you're helping, you think you're guiding, but to them, it feels like they're being talked at, not talked with. And that gap right there, that's where connection starts slipping. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize they're doing it, because it comes from a good place, experience, years of lessons. Hard-earned truth, but delivery matters. Tone matters, timing matters. And if it feels like a sermon instead of a conversation, people check out, not physically, they're still there, but mentally. Gone. And then there's the subtle habit of dismissing new ideas too quickly. Like when someone younger brings up something different, something unfamiliar, and the reaction is immediate. That's not how we used to do it. Or, that'll never work. And boom, just like that, curiosity shuts down. Not just yours, but theirs too, because now they feel judged. And nobody likes feeling small for trying something new. And here's where it gets real. This isn't about being right or wrong. It's about being open, because the moment you stop being open, you stop being approachable. And when you stop being approachable, people stop coming to you. And that's when isolation starts creeping in. Slow and quiet, like a shadow you didn't notice growing. And yeah, humor can make or break things too, because jokes that once landed perfectly might now feel off. Maybe a little too sharp, maybe a little outdated, maybe even unintentionally hurtful. And nobody's gonna call it out. They'll just laugh awkwardly, change the subject, and remember that feeling later. And that's the thing. It's not the big moments that create distance. It's the small, repeated ones. The tiny discomforts that stack up over time until people start choosing shorter conversations. Fewer visits, less engagement, and you're left wondering what changed. And here's the twist. What if the answer isn't out there, but right here, in these little patterns that are so easy to overlook? Because they feel normal, they feel familiar, they feel like you. But growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from awareness, from those wait. Do I do that? Moments. And if you're feeling even a little called out right now, that's not a bad thing. That's actually the best place to start, because it means you're paying attention. And trust me, people notice when you shift, when you start listening more, when you ask instead of assume, when you laugh with instead of at, when you show that you're still evolving, still curious, still open. That's when respect doesn't just return, it deepens. It becomes something stronger, something real. And suddenly, those rooms don't feel so quiet anymore. Those conversations don't feel so short. And that invisible distance, it starts to disappear, one small change at a time. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Because some habits don't just create distance, they quietly build walls. And the tricky part is, they often look like strength on the surface. Like being overly critical, for example, calling things out, pointing out flaws, correcting people mid-sentence. It can feel like you're maintaining standards, like you're keeping things sharp, but to others, it feels like walking on eggshells. Like no matter what they say, it's going to be picked apart. And over time, people just stop sharing. Not because they don't value your opinion, but because they don't feel safe expressing theirs. And then there's the habit of bringing up the past too often. Not in a nostalgic, warm way, but in a way that compares. Back in my day, we had it harder. You don't understand. And while those statements might be true, they can unintentionally minimize someone else's experience, making them feel like their struggles don't count. And connection doesn't grow in comparison. It grows in understanding, in meeting people where they are, not where you were. And let's talk about control for a second, because this one hits deep, the need to guide, to fix, to step in. Especially with family, it comes from love, no doubt. But when it crosses into control, it creates tension, because people want to feel capable. They want to make their own choices, even their own mistakes. And when they feel like they're being managed instead of supported, they pull back, not out of disrespect, but out of self-preservation. And yeah, even something as simple as body language plays a role. The sighs, the eye rolls, the impatient tone. Those little signals speak louder than words, and people pick up on them instantly. They feel judged before a single sentence is finished. And here's the part nobody likes to admit sometimes. The intention is good, but the impact isn't. And impact is what people remember. That's what shapes how they feel around you, and how often they choose to be around you. And if you're still with me right now, really listening, not just hearing but reflecting, then you're already ahead of most. Because awareness is rare, real awareness, the kind that makes you pause and think, maybe I can do better. And that's not weakness. That's power, because change doesn't require perfection. It requires willingness, small shifts, like asking more questions, like giving people space to finish their thoughts, like choosing curiosity over correction, like updating your humor, your references, your approach, staying connected to the present instead of anchored in the past. And yeah, it might feel uncomfortable at first. Change always does. But you know what's more uncomfortable? Feeling disconnected, feeling misunderstood, feeling like people are slowly drifting away without telling you why. And the good news is, it doesn't have to be that way, not at all. Because the same habits that create distance can be replaced with ones that build connection. Stronger, deeper, more genuine than ever before. And that's where you take control. Not by holding tighter, but by adapting smarter, by showing that growth doesn't have an age limit, that you're still in the game, still evolving, still someone people want to be around. Not out of obligation, but out of genuine enjoyment. And if this hit you even a little, if you saw yourself in any part of this, don't brush it off. Use it, reflect on it. Maybe even ask someone you trust for honest feedback. Yeah, it might sting, but it'll also open doors you didn't even realize were closing. And before you go, I want you to something simple. Drop a comment. Tell me which one stood out to you the most. Or share this with someone who needs to hear it. Not as criticism, but as a wake-up call wrapped in care. Because the goal here isn't to point fingers. It's to build better connections, real ones. The kind that don't fade with time, but grow stronger because you chose to grow with them. And if you're ready for that, then you're already on the right path, no matter where you're starting from. If you want to truly take something meaningful from everything discussed in this video, then don't just leave it here as information, turn it into reflection. Because awareness without action slowly fades away and becomes just another video you watched and forgot. Instead, pause for a moment and honestly think about your own daily habits. The way you speak, the way you react, and the way people around you respond to you. Because sometimes the biggest changes in our relationships don't come from what we say once in a while, but from the small patterns we repeat every single day without even noticing. And if you felt even slightly uncomfortable or emotional at any point while watching this, don't ignore that feeling, because that discomfort is not there to criticize you. It's there to guide you, to show you where growth is possible. And real growth always starts with honesty, especially the kind we admit to ourselves when nobody is watching. So maybe take a moment today or tonight, sit quietly and ask yourself simple but powerful questions like, do people feel heard when they talk to me? Or, do I listen to understand or just to respond? Or even, have I been unknowingly creating distance instead of connection? And don't rush your answers, because this is not about being perfect. It's about being aware. And once awareness enters, change becomes natural, not forced. And if you are someone who loves your family, your friends, or the people close to you, then remember this connection is not built through authority, advice, or control. It is built through understanding, patience, and the willingness to meet others where they are in their life, not where you expect them to be. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply listen without correcting, laugh without judging, and support without trying to take over. Also, don't underestimate the power of adapting with time, because the world is changing fast. Language is changing, humor is changing, communication is changing, and staying connected doesn't mean losing yourself. It just means evolving in a way that keeps your relationships alive and healthy. And that evolution is something people deeply respect, even if they never say it out loud. And lastly, if this message made you reflect even a little, don't keep it to yourself, share it with someone you care about. Start a conversation. Ask them how they feel around you, because sometimes one honest conversation can fix years of silent distance. And if you want, drop a comment and share which part hit you the hardest. Not for engagement only, but because real conversations begin when people open up. And maybe your words will help someone else realize something about themselves too. And that is how real change spreads. Quietly, honestly, from one person to another.